when he told me that no one would help me, I believed him. When he told me that I wouldn't be supported, I believed him. When he told me that people wouldn't stop it, I believed him. And that allowed the abuse to go on for 5 more years.
5 years. So the abuse of trust and the actual psychological torture that you went through, because like you said, it's torture as well.
It is torture,
torturing a child.
Yeah. I had really struggled with my mental health through my teenage years. So by the age of 19, I had attempted to take my life 3 times. So
what age were you when you actually started? You were very young when you started harming as well, right?
9, yeah. So I had no name for it. I didn't know what it was, but I had started kind of, mutilating my own body in a way to cope, and that carried on until I was about 23. So it was, even when I realised, I was like, this is not something I want to do anymore. It was so ingrained as to how I coped that it was almost like an addiction. It was very, very difficult to let it go, and I felt very attached to it.
The abuser generally tries to turn it on the person who's being abused by saying, this is actually your fault.
100%, yeah.
Is that what happened to you?
Yeah, I got a lot of that as well. I was a very flamboyant child. I am gay. But as a child, I was picked on for that, and he used that against me very often. So he was like, they're already calling you gay. So he was using things that were real and happening in my life and manipulating it into keeping me silent and keeping me separated from everyone else.
At what point in your life did you know you had to address these, and how did that come about? How did it kind of erupt to the surface?
When I was struggling with my mental health, I truly did not know what was happening. I was so confused. I would sit in front of doctors and be like, I don't know why this is happening. I don't understand what's happening. I don't understand why I'm, harming myself. I don't understand why I tried to take my life. And I truly didn't. And it wasn't until I got to my 20s, and I guess maybe it was a bit of the further away I was getting from it, I was able to kind of, I guess, let the box open a little bit of what had happened. And then it was a couple of years of like trying to accept it just for me. I hadn't told anyone at this point either. And then I got to the point where things started to get really, really bad again. And I was like, if I don't do something, I don't think I'm going to be here much longer.
And how did you go about that? Did you go into therapy? Did you talk to somebody? Did you, like a lot of people go online to try and research these things, unfortunately?
I think I kind of like gently started to look at things online to kind of see like signs and symptoms and things like that. And then a friend of mine who I had disclosed to showed me 1 in 4. And I had never heard of them before. So it took a couple of weeks and a few phone calls and hanging up because I just wasn't able to do it. But eventually got through to them. And then that's where the therapy started.
Okay. And did that help you with your memories of it, or?
Well, I kind of had to intentionally bring it back, and it was hard. When we would go to talk about it, my jaw would lock, and my back would seize, and my muscles would spasm. My body was, you're reliving it, so your body is getting ready to, as if it's happening in real time. So that was incredibly difficult, and it took a couple of months before we were ever actually able to talk about the abuse itself. So it was quite a long period of like when I had accepted it, I knew I had to work through it. I got to 1 in 4. And I was still like, I just physically cannot say these words. I can't tell you what's happening, even though I wanted to. My whole body was fighting against it.